Welcome back to the podcast. We are here with Michael Buzinski, who is the president and CMO of Buzzworthy Website Marketing. He's a lifelong entrepreneur, a digital marketing thought leader, best-selling author. He was dubbed a visionary marketer by the American Marketing Association. Now, what does this have to do with you? Well, everything, because Michael's sole mission is to help entrepreneurs just like you avoid time drain, avoid the frustration of managing profitable digital marketing campaigns. We'll be talking about the rule of 26, about digital marketing, search engine optimization, local SEO, so much more. Michael, glad to be talking to you.
Thanks for having me, Robert.
I'm super glad to have you. And this whole rule of 26 concept, I saw it in your bio earlier today, and I got your book for free on Kindle, and I flipped through just because I had to get to this rule of 26 thing. I was like, I'm so intrigued. I'm so excited. So can you tell us what this rule of 26 thing is and why we need to have this in our head even before the outset here?
So the rule of 26 was created to help service-based businesses understand the value of their website. And so what I wanted to do was create a digital marketing strategy that was simple, like super simple. And so I basically broke down digital marketing strategy down to 3 steps to double the revenue from a business's website. And this can work for any of them. The rule of 26 is focused on business-centric businesses, or I'm sorry, service-centric businesses. So the rule of 26 states that if you increase the unique traffic to your website by 26%, and then increase the conversion rate of that traffic 26%, and increase your average value per client by 26%, you'll get a compounded output of 100% more revenue from your website.
And I love that. You don't even need to get to a third because of the compounding. If you just increase that by just over a quarter, which seems doable enough, right? You got a little bit more traffic, increase the price or add an upsell to get a little bit more, do all those things just to get 26% more on each of those 3 buckets, double the business. Sounds like an amazing thing that we all need to be doing. I mean, who wouldn't want double from just the slightest bit more effort? So like, how do we do that? Where's even the starting point with this?
Well, I usually, with service-centric businesses, I like to start with the end. So the last step is usually my first step when I'm working with clients. And so we look at what are you getting from each of your clients. So if you're service-based business, 9 times out of 10, right now, when I talk to folks, they are not charging enough. So looking at how much we're billing for our current clients, we have to understand whether that is profitable and or scalable. And the reason I say that, because I ran into that. I undercharged for 15 years of the first 15 years of my business. And I grew pretty much broke. I was, for all intents and purposes, at a multi-million-dollar creative agency that was, if it missed a quarter, it was gone. One bad 3-month space, we would not be able to pay the bills. We were done, right? And so when we start with billing properly, we can increase by 26% a lot of times without even thinking of it. But say you're in a business that you can't, like you're already premium priced, or you might be in a commodity service where you're competing against the next person, and no matter how much you do or how much more awesome you are to that person, your competitors, you can't, they're always going to be competing on that price, and you have to stay within a certain margin there. So then it just is a matter of expanding the value you bring to each of those clients, or expanding the relationship you have with those clients. So that's the first step that I usually go in when I'm talking about the rule of 26 with clients.
And you make it sound so easy, and I guess it can be easy as long as we get out of our own limiting beliefs and out of our thinking, and have someone like you from the outside looking in to kind of, like you said, start from the end in mind and reverse engineer things and say, well, instead of just limping along, instead of just putting out the fires every day and continuing on this quarter because that's how last quarter was, and you're miserable then and you're miserable now it is time to change. Now it is time to either add the value or add the price, or look at the numbers and change things up. And so if someone says, well, easier said than done, right? And they must have all these usual objections to increasing the price. What do you usually hear, and what do you usually tell these people?
9 times out of 10, I hear, well, if I raise my prices, I'll lose my clients. And I usually come back with, those aren't the right clients. So if you can't charge what you're actually worth, you do not have good clients. Not all clients are good clients for everybody, right? Not all money is good money. So if you're unable to raise your price, that means that your clients don't value you as much as you think they do. So now we have to take a look at why they don't. What can you do to increase that value? And then we take those answers and get a feedback loop from your current clients is a great way to test new pricing structures. Hey, listen, you are on this one program, say you're on a retainer or an ongoing service, right? Hey, as of X date, we're actually not going to be offering this. These are your options. Which one works best for you, right? And you don't have to do it to all of your clients. You don't have to like just throw everybody out on the street or anything like that. But test it. Say, hey, listen, I'm thinking about changing my pricing structure, and these are my options that I'm looking at. What do you think? And then you get that market research back, and you're like, wow, they actually don't mind paying. Hey, you're doing awesome. I'm thinking I'm stealing from you with these prices I'm getting. I pay 26% more. You know, if it's $100 a month, you're talking 126. If you're business to business, that's not a lot of money, right? So that's one way to do it. There's 1,000 ways to skin the cat, of course.
Yeah, and it's just, it seems like when you come with us with these different approaches, what comes to mind is that, you know, sometimes we're in a situation where we're even afraid to consider alternatives. Like we just want to keep the door closed. It's almost like if you have like a medical condition, you're like, I don't even want to know if I have the virus. I'm too afraid to even like consider some of these alternatives, which might be a little bit painful, might be a little bit scary, but that kind of hit home a lot, like what you said there, that, well, if these clients will leave you because you increase your price 26%, then they're not very good. You deserve better. You can get better. And like I saw some kind of quote the other day. There was something along the lines. It was talking about like cutting the cord. Like we've all been in a relationship, business or otherwise, where you say I could continue on this way and be miserable, or kind of sort of cut ties or do something drastic. And the way that it was presented was something along the lines of like, well, you have a decision to make of either like putting up with the misery, or kind of having the clean break and not being subjected to that anymore. And it's like focusing on the pain and how much of the pain you're putting up with, as opposed to just like, there's this client, there's this person I have that like, I'm so afraid to cut the cord there. And so this is all good to think about. And this is all kind of like a little bit of a harsh wake up call in a good way. And it has me curious about these different types of service-based businesses that you work with, because you say service-based business, I'm thinking all kinds of different examples and different sorts of categories. So when we're talking about a service-based business, is there like a certain kind that is your favorite, or is there like a success story, case study that can really drive the point home for us that you feel like sharing today?
Sure. First, service-centric or service-based businesses. I work with all of them. I've worked with very strange services out there. Some of my favorite are accountants, because they are a lot of times the least creative. So when they when they look at things, they usually are very black and white. Numbers are numbers, and that's just the way it is, right? And it's a commoditized service out there, a B2B service. So it's almost more about who you know and your networking than what you know or what you can offer. Right. And so I really like to tackle those financial services and CPAs. So one of my recent wins, huge win, was a fractional CFO, chief financial officer. So it's a part-time CFO. He works specifically with contractors that do $10 million or more or have 100 employees. He had worked in that industry for many years as a CFO. And through his work, he was building up this company to hundreds of millions of dollars. Now he wanted to retire from that and now help multiple businesses do that. So when we first started, he had a website that an agency had built for them that couldn't sell water to somebody dying of thirst in the middle of the desert. And so we're like, I can't market this. This is unmarketable. It doesn't talk to your particular target market. It doesn't say what you do. It doesn't say how you do it and what pain, all the things, right? The story wasn't there. So in 45 days, we turned that website into a brand new spanking website with all of the pain points that we wanted to identify from the visitor so they can self-identify that they're in the right place, and then introduce this service that can help them get away from those pain points. Now we have this website that could convert, right? We have a good converting website. Now we needed to create a framework that allowed us to talk to that perfect client. So we created a framework that talked to that solution, right? And once you have a framework, now we have something that's tangible. We can describe it. We can hand it to somebody on a piece of paper because it's digestible, right? And so after we did that, we created a seminar that he then presented. He was able, out of 12 people who came to that seminar, 2 of those, actually, of the 12 businesses that were there, signed on for his $50,000 for the first 90 days and $5,000 every month after that. When he came to me, he was thinking about charging $1,500 up front and $1,500 every month. What he didn't realize was that somebody that has a company that's doing 10 million plus, looking to get to 20 to 30, 50 million, $1,500 is too little. You're not giving it enough value for them to even pay attention to it. It's a rounding error when you start talking in the tens of millions of dollars. So what we learned with that case study was that you have to take a look at the value that you're bringing. So if you're a B2B service, you need to take a look at what is the return on investment. And you need to make sure that that investment has the ROI. Like you want that 3 to 4, 5 ROI, right? But even at $50,000, if he can show somebody how they can save $1 million, you think $50,000 is going to be a worry to them?
Drop in the bucket.
Drop in the bucket. So now he has over $100,000 worth of cash flow in his business in the first 4 months of him being in business.
Amazing.
That's what we talk about when we talk about the average value per client. He's ripping nobody off. He's going to make those people tens of millions of dollars just by helping them understand their finances. And it was all through marketing that allowed him to be able to give that message to the right person who had that pain. Their cash flow wasn't right. They need to figure it out so they can pay their people more, so they can retain their talent so that they can take on more jobs. Done. Website reflects it. People go to there, they either get it or they don't. The people who don't call you are profitable calls you don't get, because you don't want to take calls from people who are never going to buy from you.
It's a lot to get one's head wrapped around, right? Of the
Right.
Excluding the people that you don't want, and kind of building a fence there and saying like, well, here's my target client, right? Here's my ideal person, and then getting the focus on that. And so it seems like your solution and this story that you laid out here was like step one, you looked at the fundamentals and like what was missing and what quickly jumped out at you, which in this case was the proper website. So that way you were dealing with the foundation first. And then it seemed like once that was in place, once that client was in a good position, then you could kind of add on to that and do the seminar thing. And you're telling us that the big lesson to learn from this is if you're afraid of charging what you're worth, if you're afraid of increasing the price, you're saying, number one, you're being ignored by these people that are not even looking below a certain price point. And then you're saying that number two, you need to overcome the fear of raising the price, because the punchline is they pay this price, but they get this way more in return. So it's not just a matter of just setting the price at whatever because I feel like it. You're saying they pay this input, they're getting this output as far as their profits. That's why it's okay to increase the price to what it should be.
Exactly. And then the number two is to make sure that you are being very specific on who you are talking to. If you try to talk to everyone, you'll become no one. Because you can please some of the people some of the time, cannot please all the people all the time, is an old saying, right? I say you can connect with some of the people some of the time, but you cannot connect with all of the people all the time. So if your marketing can connect to the most profitable type of person that you would like to talk to and serve, then your marketing is going to be much more profitable down the road.
And you hear about that more and more every year. You hear about make your YouTube content super specific and speak to like this exact problem, this exact person. You hear about have your LinkedIn be like this specific. You hear about networking, contacting these people on LinkedIn, make sure that there's someone who's like super dialed in. And even like, you're on my podcast now, and even looking at podcasts to be on, sometimes you see, well, this specific podcast, they're only looking for guests that have 100 employees, or this podcast, they only want guests that are making $10 million in revenue. So it's very interesting to think about that. It's like, what sort of like category and what kind of numbers and like income bracket do you fit in? And as far as the clients that you're looking for and things like that. So that way, like you know where you belong. And so that way you're putting forth the effort required to be on all the podcasts or get the traffic or do what you need or make the phone calls, do what you need to get people talking to you, but not in a machine gun sense, in like a sniper sense where you're saying, well, I only have so much time and only so much energy to do this. So let me really focus on who I want. And then that sort of speaks to who I know, who I want, where do they hang out? And now I know what I need to do in order to get those people talking to me.
Right. And if you can even flip that and say the same exact thing, there's so much noise out there for consumers to try to figure out where to go to do in service, do one of two things: solve a problem or get to realize a dream. Okay. So our problem might be a pain point. It could be something that we want to get so that it can do stuff for us to save us time, whatever that problem is. Or a dream might be, I want to be able to do X. I want to get over my fear of something, ... could be a problem, right? But that problem could be then to feed a dream, right? So you're doing one of those two things when you're a service-based business. You're solving a problem or you're helping people achieve their dreams. That's it. So if you can be very specific about the problem you solve and who you solve it for, or the dream that you can deliver for who is dreaming it, you will stick out amongst all of the noise, you'll rise to the top, and you'll be the only answer at that point. And that's why they talk about that niches make riches, because there's so much business out there. And if you don't think in the mindset of abundancy, you're always worried about losing business versus gathering business that is the most rewarding to you and therefore the most profitable for your business.
I love it. So it seems like the sort of the mantra for our conversation today is basically, don't be afraid to give up the good to go for the great. You like, maybe if you're clinging to this business that you have now, you're clinging to these clients. Well, you might have to give up some of the mediocrity that you have now, so that way you can get these even better dream clients, so you can help them pursue their dream or solve their problem. And so you're reminding me of all these different kinds of the scenarios, and you're making me think of, there's one guy I know from way back. He's an attorney, and he charges for like these $25,000 estate planning weekends, which, again, to what we're talking about here, $25,000 sounds like a lot. But if you're some wealthy individual and going to this estate planning weekend is the difference between leaving the grandkids $20 million versus $5 million, then maybe that $25,000 is just a tiny little drop in the bucket. Yeah. And so this is all cool to think about, because we're thinking in terms of like the big concepts and also like the nitty gritty details. But where do you see people missing the boat with this? Where could someone fail? If someone says, okay, I'm listening to Michael's conversation, this sounds good, that sounds good, but what would keep people from actually taking action on this?
So once we have identified the framework that we're going to be offering that will allow you to bill for what you're actually worth, where most people forget to translate that to their website and tell the story to their sales tool that sells 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, takes no sick days, no holidays, never asks for a raise. Your website should be working for you when you're sleeping. And so if you're having translated that message and that framework to your website, it will not convert the second step. Like I said, we're working backwards from the rule of 26, right? And so that conversion rate is dependent on you making a customer journey, a brand story that first talks to their pain points and the solution that you can provide. Most service-centric businesses talk to about what they can do. I'm Michael Buzinski. I can build websites, and our websites have all these features and blah, 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 blah. Now, as a consumer, I come to that website, I'm like, so what does your website do what I need it to do? Right? So when you come to my website, I say, we help service-based businesses website marketing drastically increase the profitability of the websites, because most are frustrated with the complexities of digital marketing. Okay, oh, that's me. I'm a service-based business. I struggle with the complexities of digital marketing. And then the next thing I do is these are 3 ways we work with you. Oh, you have a DIY, you have a DWI, a DFY. Okay. Oh yeah, I don't want to do it myself. What's this DFY stuff? Let me go learn about that. Boom, 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 boom. Right. Everything is about the person coming to the website and you drawing them into what they need, not what you have to offer. What do they need? You have to flip the script and make sure you're talking to their pain points, to their needs, their dreams, them. It's their time, and you are on borrowed time when you start talking about yourself.
Awesome. Amazing. And so what you're reminding me of is when I have these podcast guests such as you on the show, when I'll look at people's websites. Like if I have a guest, I'll look at their website. I've looked at your website. And when I see someone, I'll see like 2 types. I'll see like, number one, the website, it just looks like it hasn't been updated lately. And I'll never really quite understand why. And I think it's because it's that the messaging on the website is not up to date with the messaging of what they're bringing to the podcast. And, and who knows where else, right? Posting on social media, posting on YouTube, doing the sales calls and all that. But then there's the disconnect when they go back to the website. So right off the bat, that reminds me of just kind of that importance of recurringly going back and updating the website, because as you know, Michael, our business changes over time, or it should. We shouldn't be stagnating, and what we have dialed in as far as the niche or the type of person we're going after, all that evolves over time. But it's really easy to forget about that dang website because I spent so much time on it 2 years ago. Maybe even that alone is a reminder just to kind of go back and look at some of that. And then also this kind of marketing 101. But again, it's so easy to forget about that starting point and say, well, they took that journey to our website for a reason. And we need to identify them. And so that way, even they know where they're in the right place, and identify the problems they've already had and the problems they will have without us. So that way, then we kind of earned that little bit of credibility to then get to the solution, and not just say, here's the solution, and not just say pricing. And you make it sound so simple when you have these moments of clarity that you share with us. And it's easy just to forget and to just get caught up in the day-to-day and not think back about the strategy and the things that we should be doing. So I think this is a very, oh yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say that it's a very valuable wake-up call for all of us.
I think that when people, if you could put a reminder in your calendar to look and comb through your website every 180 days, every 6 months, you should be looking at it and making sure that it reflects who you are, what problems you're solving, or what dreams you're attaining for people, and what value you bring. If you're not doing it at least that much, then you're losing. You're giving your competitors business. You're feeding their dreams, and you are now poor because of it.
You're making your competitors look better because you're kind of propping them up, right? You're saying, I am down here, and they're way better than me.
Literally bleeding money to them. See, the thing is this: consumers are going to buy regardless. I have a problem. I'm going to find somebody to solve it because I can't solve it myself. Okay. If I land on your website and you can't convince me in 8 seconds to pay attention to what you have to say about my problem, I'm going to the next person until I find somebody who will connect with me. Oh, I found somebody. I'm going to connect. Now I'm going to build this digital relationship before I ever talk to you. I'm going to check your social media. I'm going to look at your blogs. I'm going to look at the content you have there. I'm going to look at your plans. I'm going to look at your solutions. I'm going to look at everything. And then I'm going to go, all right, I like what they're saying. I feel like they're trustworthy. Okay, let's go ahead and make an appointment and let's interview these people to see if they really match what I'm reading here is coming out of their mouths. That's the journey. And it happens sometimes over months, and sometimes it can happen just like that. Just depends on what you're offering.
Interesting way of thinking about it. Does it match? And if it doesn't match, that seems like a link in the chain where we could easily lose them. And so
you're gonna lose trust right there. That's a disconnect. You're gonna confuse them, and once you've confused them, they're gone.
A confused mind never buys, as they say.
That's right. Exactly.
And so you've given us a very valuable homework assignment, and I'm going to put that 6-month recurring reminder in my phone, because from my point of view, even if I just spent 30 minutes or like an hour just looking through the website twice a year, that's very doable. I probably spend more time than that just on Facebook just this morning, not even in the entire day. So I could find an hour twice a year just to examine this, especially if this is the number one leak of us, losing people. When they come and they find us, they check out all the social media, which I guess you pointed out, we all do that, right? We all kind of do a little bit of an internet background check. And so we'd be crazy to think that other people aren't doing it on us. And imagine how many people that you have lost by not having these things match up. So good homework assignment. So that's homework assignment number 1. The homework assignment number 2 is for people to go to Michael's website and check out his company and check out his services and check out his book. So what is the next step here? If someone here was listening and they're intrigued and they say the rule of 26, I need to get my hands on that. Where do they go and where else should they go?
Actually, I make it super simple. Go to buzzworthy.biz. That's buzzworthy.biz. Everything you need to know is right there. The book is right at the top. It's available on Amazon. You can get the ebook. You can get the paperback. If your viewers want to grab the ebook and then email me at buzz with 2 Z's at buzzworthy.biz with a little snapshot of their purchase, I will send them a signed copy of the paperback absolutely free.
Valuable. Okay. Buzz at buzzworthy.biz is the way to claim that. You get, so what was that again? They get the ebook, they get the physical book for free.
That signed to them.
So just email me. It's autographed.
And it's autographed. So just tell me where to send it to and who they want to make the book out to.
Well, fantastic. And as you know, Michael, so many people, they listen, they think, they plan, they ponder, they strategize, and so few people actually take action. And this is a very simple thing for a podcast listener to do. And you out there who is listening or watching the podcast, I'm speaking directly to you. Don't be one of those people that doesn't take action. That's a double negative. So take action. Go to buzzworthy.biz. Go there, get the ebook, and then email buzz at buzzworthy.biz. That way you can get your autograph. It'll be worth something someday, and it is worth something now, but it'll be worth even more in the future. Buzz at buzzworthy.biz. That way you can say, I bought the rule of 26. I want the physical copy, and that way this will change your business. It'll change the way that you think about what you're doing, because as we've had all these mini wake-up calls in this conversation here, it's so easy to not know what you don't even know, and you might be doing all these things wrong, and it might be easily corrected as long as you just know what are those little nooks and crannies where you can increase 26% here, 26% there, and 26% there to double your business. And that way you're now living in an abundant world and not a scarce world. So buzzworthy.biz is the place to go right now while it's still fresh on your mind. You're welcome. Any final parting words of advice here, Michael?
So if you can promise to yourself that you'll at least try one of the steps of the rule of 26, every percentage that you increase any one of those steps is an increase in your revenue. So the book's $10. If I can get you 2% more than you're making on your website today, I bet you I've already doubled the ROI of the book. So I'm a book reader. I'm an ebook reader, but I love my hard copies. You can see in my if you have video, you can see in that small collection of all the books that I have just in marketing. I find that the books help us create that plan, create those timelines. And so if you're one of those people who procrastinates, grab the book, put it in a place that's going to bug you, and then put it in your calendar when you're going to at least read 2 or 3 chapters of the book. And then from there, start creating the calendar when you're going to start making more money for your business.
I love it. It's a simple plan. It's something that we need to be doing. And the very first step in that plan is to go to buzzworthy.biz, claim the book. Get it, like you said, put it in a place that annoys you, create the calendar and just chip away at it and make those small actions to get those small little single digit percentage increases. That way you can make your money back and see small gains, easy wins, and you'll be excited to continue more. Buzzworthy.biz, and we'll see you there. And thank you, Michael Buzz, for showing up and being awesome with us.
Thank you so much for having me. Good luck.